Welcome to Tangent Podcast, Season 2, Episode 6. You see, this is all the labor that we put into Tangent Podcast. We got to get it right. Yjang is currently in his school's library because his roommate is too loud playing the PS2. So he had to go to the school library and reserve a room. And he currently is laying on the floor with his laptop.
Yes,
and he's drinking hot boiling water because he brought a tea kettle, but he forgot to bring tea. But
I have everything set up except for the most essential part, which is the most I have ever had to do. But you know what? Whatever. I'm okay with that.
He's got a roll or something.
And you know what? There's one thing that, even though I like structure and everything, if there's one thing I've learned, is that you have to be flexible if you want to do anything great.
Structure sucks. I don't like my the nightmare of my life would be I would wake up at the same time every day, go to bed at the same time every night, and do almost the exact same thing every day. Like, that sounds like a nightmare to me.
That is the thing this is the thing I truly try to avoid in my life. I mean, well, I think what I enjoy is variety, but there's one thing I do miss that I used to do when I was younger is have like a schedule of like, when I wake up, I'm going to follow this routine, and then after that I let the day go on, and I think that actually would help me. But what I have noticed is that when I don't follow that, a lot of opportunities just come in spontaneously. Like, if I had been the person where I said I only wake up at 6 a.m. and I go to bed at 10 p.m., my life was worse, because when I was, earlier in the episodes, this last season, I was talking about how my sleep was pretty shitty because of my, not my dorm mates, but my floor mates, and how they would stay up until 2 p.m. or 2 a.m.
Damn, what are they, 80s? Staying up till 2 p.m. is late.
No, they would stay up until 2 a.m. where they would come back from insomnia ice cream shop and just play loud music. And it's a cookie shop, honestly, but they sell ice cream too. But yeah, that shop stays up until 3 a.m. and they open at 11. But the reason it sucked for me is I didn't have a way to bounce back. And sure, this is their fault, but if there's one thing you have to be is flexible, because if you're because for me, I only got 2 hours of sleep that day, but last weekend I only got for a night 4 hours of sleep, and I was doing stuff that I cared about and I liked, and it was pretty good.
That's not healthy. Even me, the minimum I usually get is at least 5 hours, and even then I'm dead the next day. I
actually had more energy the next day, but
I try to get at least minimum 6, and that's because I wake up at 7:30, even though 50% of the days I just go straight back to sleep, and I actually wake up around 8:30 when my second backup alarm goes off, because I know myself.
Yep. That's
what's it called?
I think I think you just shoot for the middle though. Just go for 8 a.m. and then
No. It's got to be one of the 30s, because at 8:30 I literally can't ignore the alarm, because I have to get either my brother to his school, or I have class in 45 minutes, or I just have to get up and get ready for my classes that'll last all day, because on some days I'm at college for 7 hours, which sucks. So the 8:30 alarm is oh shit, I gotta get up. The 7:30 alarm is go enjoy yourself, actually eat breakfast,
take care of yourself,
stuff like that.
I feel like you just need the urgency to push yourself out of bed.
It does help sometimes, but on some days I really enjoy getting up at 7:30, because I can relax before I have to do all the work that day. It's nice, but
treat your body good.
Yeah, the last few days I've been falling asleep at 1:30 and waking up at 7:30, and I felt so tired, because I usually fall asleep around midnight, around there. So it's just less sleep, and I don't know how you can even function on 4 hours or something like that.
I mean, the reason I was able to function on 4 hours is because for myself, I was able to attend a hackathon over the weekend. And for our listeners, if you have a little idea what a hackathon is, it is a 36-hour event where you have that time to build, design, and deploy a application and present it to judges from Microsoft, Google, Amazon was there. No, Amazon wasn't there. Lockheed Martin, and a bunch of engineering and tech companies that come to recruit people. And even like JP Morgan Chase and American Express was there judging people on their designs. And there were people doing like machine learning algorithms. You can figure out.
Those are like cool to me. Like I've seen some videos on YouTube about those, and they're pretty cool. But go ahead.
The coolest one I saw was a guy who made a computer vision program where it would show you based off of the form that you have when you're doing deadlifts, or not deadlifts but squats with like barbells. It would show you if you're going too low or if you're going too high based off how deep your dip is. And it was really impressive. I mean, it wasn't a full working thing, but it was a good prototype that I love the concept for.
Yeah, the videos I've seen on YouTube are like teaching AI to drive and stuff like that. Like those are pretty cool, but they're like kind of pointless anyways because they just teach them how to drive around a circular track.
I get you, but I think in any case, these are just really cool, and the fact that people like my age or like a couple of years older than me that are able to do stuff like this just speaks to how like amazing the time I live in, and also the kind of resources that are available now. And I gotta say, when I was there, even though we built an app called timeslice.ninja, which is basically a task app that when you add a task to it, it would push it to your Google Calendar. And that was pretty good. And what we were able to do is get it to push to Google Calendar, but we were able for you, and you can do this today, log in with your Google account and have a task app just for you. And you can put like, what time, also like what's the description of it. And it has like a little picture that you can, see that you want to add and upload. But it's really nice.
So how many people did you work with to make that?
Just me and my partner, Nick Speer. He has a YouTube channel if anyone cares about that. But if you want, you can check it out. I'm just going to plug it for him because he's a nice guy.
Yeah. And so is that app like up on the App Store or something like that?
It's not an app. It's a app like we know, like a mobile app, but it's a web app. So you can go to like Facebook web app. Yeah. But you can go to timeslice.ninja and you can play around with it and see what you do. But it was pretty fun building it. Like we built it off of a programming language called Python. And it was interesting because the thing is, for me, I was basically just like, banging my head on the ground. How do I set up an environment? And I eventually talked to some Google programmer who works on the VS Code team to help me set up my environment. And it was really nice talking to some of them. Like, okay, quick side note. I have some change opinions on Microsoft after talking to some of their team. Not fully changed, but definitely I feel differently in a more positive light about them. Based off of like, I was asking them stuff about like their recent stuff like, hey, how do you feel about like open source software, like the new way how you've been adding more free stuff to, GitHub and all that stuff. And it's been really interesting talks I had. And I'll talk about this later in the podcast, but great guy. And after, building the app, I was doing the front end work. So everything that you see in the front, I built it. And everything that makes it work, talk to Google and actually builds logic, my friend did that. But it was a really fun time just even able to like work a little bit on the back end and do this kind of stuff. And it was like, it made me feel more confident that I wanted to do stuff like this for a very long time.
Yeah, I'm currently on the site, and if you heard me laughing earlier, it's because
I heard a little bit.
And I saw the picture of you sideways with the task called "Ask Karen to Give Me the Kids." nice professional page guy.
Wait, how did you see that? Is that the beta
because
version that you
because
saw?
I logged into the thing with my Google
Uh-huh.
and I put a task called test on there, but then I deleted it because I didn't know what else to do, and then it brought me to timeslice.ninja/books. Now I see a bunch of stuff here, like something called ENC conference, Lord Willing with the Tangent Podcast logo, plush turtle with that's Luigi, I think.
No, that one, I think that's that was a gift that my friend made for me here at UCF. It's like UCF. It's a kiss, like a green little kiss snack, the chocolate.
And the first thing ever posted on here is a thing called Test This App with Big Chungus on it.
That's my friend. He has really good choice of memes too.
So what did the like judges think of the app?
I showed it to a couple people and they thought it was interesting. Overall, we didn't get to do a full demo because my guy decided he didn't want to demo it because he wasn't confident in it, and I was like, whatever. I wanted to show off anyway, but I got to show it off to some judges, like, well, not like show off like they came to me, more like I kind of forced it on them, but and also some of my friends, but they did like it and they thought it was like a neat concept, not like groundbreaking, but it was good that we built in like only a few hours.
Yeah, definitely. Like that sounds pretty. So you were there like all weekend, or?
Yeah, I was there all weekend from Friday to Sunday, and I just slept in my room because since my room was only a 5-minute walk away from the whole event, I would just go there, get some tea, and come back, or if I didn't need to do that, I would just stay there until like 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. and then go to bed. It was really fun though. I was like a vampire where I woke up. I went to bed later to the point where my roommate was asleep. And also, I woke up at like 5 a.m. or like 6 a.m. when my roommate was still asleep. And I felt like, a ghost. It's just like a presence just moved in. And eventually, when I was done with all my work, I just, went around and helped some of my other friends that were there and see if I can check out their code and build their sites. So it was really nice. And I think that in the end, what it makes me believe is that more people should take the time to build something and create stuff. Whether it's not even if it's not code, just arts and crafts or making a song, just something creative is something I think people. Writing would be a good one too, if you think that's like something you're more gifted at. I just think that this act of creation is worth it.
Yeah, if I had to choose to make something, I'd probably choose to write something because I think I'm, fairly decent at it. I'm no next best-selling New York Times author, but I could probably make like a decent story.
I think, yeah, you could. Or if you have like a specific niche that you can go in depth about, then I think you could be really successful anywhere as a writer or as like a creator of any case.
Yeah, definitely. What's it called? But like you said, I'd probably need to find some niche because like longtime viewers probably would have noticed that once I find a topic that I enjoy, I become very passionate about it, and I become maybe even a bit zealous. So if I can find a niche to write about, then that'd be best for me.
Yeah. So in the end, I think that's just something that you just, you should take time to enjoy it. And I think this hackathon was great because it changed my perspective on like a lot of things about tech companies, mostly Microsoft. And to move back on that last point I made, what I beforehand, and I still hold this to this true, and if the Gardner ever listens to this, hi. Gardner is a listener that listened to my podcast one time, and he has his own podcast called the Offtopical Podcast, which is good. If you like Linux stuff, you should check it out. But
you should listen to Tangent Podcast only. Don't go to any competition.
Yeah, don't. No. Well, we're not competition. It's a mutual. It'll be a benefit. But in any case, when I was there talking to like some of the guys working at the VS Code team, one of the things I noticed when I was like asking about their company culture and recent changes, because in 2016 they had a change of CEOs, and I remember it was, I think, Sahar or Sitar, the name of the CEO.
Like the instrument?
I don't think so. I had to check again, but I think let me check out Microsoft CEO. If you can do that faster than I can. But in any case, the name doesn't matter too much. But what they were talking about is like open source software, and this is something I really think is important because it allows people to have a lot more ownership and control of their information. And on top of that, they also, you can build on top of it, and it's free. So if you don't have any money like I do, but you still want to build stuff, no, it was Ajaj Pal Singh Banga.
Oh,
that's the name of the guy.
I'm seeing the Microsoft CEO here on Google as Satya Nadella.
Oh, Satya, my bad.
Yeah, he's this bald
Oh,
guy.
it was MasterCard that I pulled up, apparently, but they're both owned by Indian people, so that's cool. Good job. But so Satya kind of been like, not so much he brought around this whole change in like moving to open source, but he had changed the company philosophy to, instead of saying we have to have our customers on Windows and the Microsoft ecosystem, they're more on the line of, hey, look, we get it. You might want to use Mac, or you want to use, Linux. And you know what? That's fine. We're just going to put our services out there. So if you still want to use it, since you might be more comfortable, we're free to have you on board. And I think you notice this because they put like, Microsoft Word on Android and, Macintosh and all that stuff recently. So they've been more in that route of, instead of just keeping it all in the castle, more like share it out so that way we have our hands into other pockets. But the thing I was worried about was if Windows or Microsoft would just use it so that way it's like, oh, we have now ways to get your money or ways to control you even when you think you're far away. Whereas now, I think it's more of, we want to be able to be accessible to our customer base instead of just locking them down. And while it is going to be profitable for them, I think it allows more people to use Microsoft's products in a more, I would say, flexible way. Yeah. Whereas more on the consumer's terms. And although it doesn't change my overall impression of the company so much, I think what it does kind of make me second guess and reevaluate is the Microsoft that I know growing up when I was like, a young kid up until I was in high school, the same one that I see now. And I think with this evidence and also how they've been putting their stuff, making it open source, like VS Code is a text editor that I use all the time for writing, projects and stuff like that. And the reason that's important is because it's a Microsoft product that works super well on Linux too. So when I'm using it, I'm thinking, wow, you know what? Maybe they're trying to embrace the whole idea of open source a little bit more. Maybe not completely, but more than before. And what makes me really solidify this is GitHub. And if you don't know what GitHub is, it's basically the most popular place for you to upload your code so other people can see it and you can build a reputation for yourself as a developer. And that matters because it was bleeding out money, and because it was likely going to go out of business, Microsoft said like, hey, look, we're just going to buy GitHub. We want to keep this platform alive, and on top of that, be profitable for us. And it seems to be, when I was talking to like the people who work at Microsoft, they kind of like, GitHub is its own thing. Sure, they have like some connections with Microsoft, but really it's kind of like its own little thing that kind of works with us occasionally. So I don't see Microsoft now as like the harbinger of like, we're going to control everything. I see it more as trying to become a universal ecosystem that just try to works for you. Doesn't make me think that it's all, happy roses, but it does make me feel a little bit more comfortable with their business model nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Microsoft has such a large market share of, the like PC and tech market. that they're trying to build goodwill right now because they burnt a lot of that in getting this large, and now they're trying to.
Well, the last CEO, for sure, they kind of burnt it because of his whole "they're with us or they're out of us" kind of mentality.
Yeah, definitely. And so now they're trying to build bridges back to the communities that they left behind to get where they are, and trying to make people like them again. Which goodwill is a asset. So. In the end, they're trying to make more money and make people like them more, but it is helping the consumer. And while in the end, like my personal opinion is, I wish there was more competitors to Microsoft with more competition. But Linux is trash.
No, it isn't, man.
It is.
It isn't. I can
There's
show
nothing
you so many
on Linux though.
Okay, but here's the thing. In the past 2 years, I've been able to play many games off of Linux because of Steam, Proton. And on top of that, I've been able to edit audio, the podcasts you listen to now, make videos, and do even basic Photoshopping on Linux. I'm not saying... I'm just saying, if you're the person that uses basically your browser as your day-to-day thing and not hardware to its limits, then I think you could consider Linux as your alternative. Because if you're mainly using the browser as your main thing with Windows, Office or Microsoft Office, I think there's a lot of options here that would be beneficial to you. But if you're a pure, specs gamer, then I would say that Linux doesn't have as much to offer yet, but it is growing to the point where it is somewhat a viable alternative if you're a more casual player like I am.
Yeah.
At least PC-wise.
For me, I enjoy a lot of... paradoxically, I really enjoy very large games and very small games. For example, recently, I have been playing The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt again, which last time I played was about 1.5 years, 2 years ago.
That one you can play on Proton, but is still kind of buggy.
Yeah, I mean it's a bit older, so it's understandable it's able to be ported. And I've been playing my new addiction, which I bought two and a half days ago, and I already have 15 hours on. Kenshi, which is I think it was developed by one person. Don't quote me on that. It might have been a few people. But it's been in early access on Steam since 2012, 2013, around there. And they've been slowly building the game up. And to give a quick summary of what the game basically is, there's this big... I don't know if it's the whole world or if it's just an island, but it's basically this land, and it's some sort of post-apocalypse with all these different races. There's these bug hive men. They're kind of like a bee colony, but what if bees had legs and arms? And they didn't have stingers. What's it called? There's regular humans. There's humans with basically reverse albinos, so pitch black with glowing eyes and white hair. There is the Shek, which are humanoid. No, not Shrek. Although Shrek in game would be pretty great because there are swamps. He would rule. What's it called? But they're humanoid looking people with horns all over them, and they're really big, but they're strong but not that smart. And then there's the skeletons, which aren't actually skeletons, they're just robots, but they're called skeletons. But basically the game is a weird fusion of what if we took Mount and Blade and we mixed it with Morrowind into a single game. And if you've played either of those games, and you know how weird that sounds.
I never played the other one, but I know Morrowind is already its own little cult.
It's got a ton of different stats. It's really hard. And how it's like Mount and Blade, it's a third-person open-world game where you can have these teams of people. One of the starts is you start with 5 people and you're out in the wilderness, and you have to go from some randos with clubs to being really cool and powerful. While others are the one I chose is you are 2 slaves in the Holy Nation's camps, which the Holy Nation are basically the racists. They're anyone who's not human gets killed on sight. So.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So it's like the Brotherhood of Steel.
It's like, what if the Brotherhood of Steel was like more outright evil and racist?
Oh.
And they didn't have technology because the best technology of the land is crossbows.
Okay.
What's it called? But it's a very fun game. It's, like I said, extremely hard. I've died many times, especially because my main character, Runner, is a bug man who has the lowest health in the game, and his limbs get cut off like nothing. But currently, I decided that instead of basically working as a serf outside of one of the desert towns mining iron to survive, I went to the swamps, which were across the whole map, and it was a very perilous journey filled with acid rain, giant man-eating giraffes, and bandits. And we made to the swamps where they sold drugs. It's like hash. And we bought all of it and smuggled it back into the more like civilized cities and sold it for huge profit. And right now we're walking around with actual weapons and armor because we're drug dealers.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if you guys are not drug dealers, I don't know what is a drug dealer. But, you know, congratulations on becoming a drug pin.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. I just live in fear when I see guards.
Cops.
Yeah, it's like, oh shit. Just like run, like I will see a guard patrol coming down the road, and I will run into the desert because I would rather fight the like beasts out there than have to deal with them.
I get it. You're like man, I'd rather fight with other drug pins and monsters out there than face the 5-0.
Because they'll just either beat me up and take all my drugs, or they'll demand a huge bribe because they're all corrupt. And I don't want to deal with
just like
either.
real life. Dang.
Also, they're all racist because I'm a bug man, and they say that everything's my fault. And they'll search me just because I'm a bug man, but the human in my party, they're like, "Oh, welcome to town, citizen." But they're like, "Hey, bug man, get the fuck over there. We're going to search your bag."
Shit.
I've experienced racism in a video game, and it makes me angry.
I can't say this is America, but what's the name of this country?
Kenshi.
This is Kenshi. Ooh, don't catch you slipping though. Hey, don't catch you slipping though. Ooh, well, look at how I'm living though.
It's a very good game. I believe it was $20, maybe $30. I don't really remember. I think it was $30. But it's a very good game. I see myself playing this for at least a couple dozen more hours at minimum. Probably at least like 100 or so more. It's very good. It just got its full-time release a few months ago after 7 years of development, like 7-8 years. But it's not on Linux, because I actually Googled that when you were talking about Linux, and it seems that when you open it through Proton, the game just closes itself because the developers have not made any attempt.
So you downloaded, got into the Steam beta for Proton?
No, I just looked it up, and people here on the Steam community forums are talking about it, saying that it doesn't work. I don't even know what Proton really is. So,
Proton basically, the best way to describe it is imagine if you had Lincoln Logs and you're trying to connect it with Legos, and you know that Lincoln Logs and Legos don't connect. But imagine if there was a substance or some kind of like third-party tool where you can like make Lincoln Logs connect to Legos.
Duct tape.
Okay, let's say duct tape, but let's say instead of it duct tape, let's make it like something more like Play-Doh, where it just meshes in completely. So whatever holes that would never fit, usually it allows to fit through this. So if we're to apply this analogy to, Steam, Proton, and for Linux and Windows games, whatever Windows specific things that have to go for Windows computer so that the game will work, Proton basically takes that, makes it work with Proton, and then Proton, since it is optimized to work for Linux, will just plug on top of it. So you're able to have your Lincoln Logs work with your Lego pieces.
Sounds like a pretty innovative way to solve that problem.
It's really like been like one of the most amazing things that happened in 2018 because of, like, Linux gaming shot up because of it.
Yeah.
So that's why I give praise to Steam and Valve.
But you mentioned Play-Doh, and it brought to mind a question. Did you eat Play-Doh as a child?
Oh God! Whenever I hear that from people, I always think like, okay, I'm not too sure if you did this, but whenever I heard this from people, I always thought, why would you ever do this? That was like the most terrible idea.
I ate Play-Doh. I ate like the not the rubber bits, but the like end bits of pencils. You know, the like eraser. That's
Okay,
the
you know
word.
what? I licked that. I actually licked the eraser and chewed on it, but not to like swallow it.
I think
'cause it's,
licking
like,
it
kinda
is
chewy.
worse than just chewing it and swallowing it. Honestly.
No, I just licked and chew it. Like when I was like busy on a test, and I got nervous, so just like.
I
bite
know,
it
but
and
like just like you're a teacher and you look over and a kid's just like licking his pencil, and you're just like,
Okay,
what kind of
you
fucking
expecting me to
creeps do I have in my class?
what do you think I do? Like licking it like an ice cream cone? No.
Yeah, like just like up the whole thing as you stare the teacher dead in the eyes.
Doing the SpongeBob flick where he's just going.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
No, I'm not doing that shit. That would be the most. Okay, if I did that, then yeah, you should criticize me.
Yeah, but I mean, I ate Play-Doh. I chewed pencils. I ate the erasers. I just love to just chew things. Apparently, it's probably why I enjoy chewing gum, because it helps me like focus and de-stress. And I always chew gum in class. What's it called? But I always ask my professors, like, hey, do you have a problem with gum? Because I know some do. But I don't chew loudly or anything. Hell, I listen to music in literally every single one of my classes, just because it helps me focus. Because I'll put on like jazz music or something just to help me like relax and listen to the lecture. And most professors seem okay with it. So, yeah, I'm the only person I usually see in class doing that, though. Besides the type of people who come into class, sit in the very back, and go on their phone and listen to their Beats headphones.
So you were like, you're a hipster chewing gum instead of like the mainstream guys who like listen to Drake and chew gum and don't care about class.
I've never even heard a fucking Drake song. Okay.
You never heard of a Drake song?
Well,
wow, that's actually impressive.
Oh, okay. I've heard of Drake and I've heard of his songs, but I've never listened to a Drake song.
Wow, so you never listened to a Drake song? I mean, I just think it's impressive because of how like he's always pops up on the radio every year.
I don't listen to the radio.
That's why.
I have a Bluetooth and I have a USB with like over 7 hours of music on it, so I'm pretty set.
Yeah, you're pretty good. I mean, for me, I guess you know what my latest genres. I think I already said this before, but my genres at the moment are just vaporwave, chill hop, future funk, and anything that's kind of like a lo-fi or some really repetitive or trap rap.
I've mostly been listening to like bands that I used to listen to like a year ago, 2 years ago. I've been listening to Gorillaz, Daft Punk, Caravan Palace because they put out their new song.
Yeah, that was good.
Although the music video, if you saw it, was
it was a bit, you know.
It was a good music video, but it's not what I was expecting at all. And it put Lone Digger to shame.
Yeah.
like Caravan Palace, their YouTube channel put out like a day before the music video came out saying, "Oh, hey, the video got rated 18 plus. You're gonna need to be signed in to view it." And I'm like, really? I wonder why. Maybe there's more violence in it or something like that. And then you watch the actual video and you're like, oh, okay, that's why.
Yeah, it's just really sensual.
Yeah, watch it with your parents.
Yes, actually do, especially if you're like 14. Please, you they'll love it.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think we have any 14-year-olds listening to this?
I honestly believe our current listeners are people who are friends, but if there are any 14-year-olds, I'm assuming it's either your brother or.
He does not listen.
Oh, well, that's even.
Unless you count him listening as sitting next to me right now, judging everything I say. Because he's just sitting here instead of going to his room to watch YouTube on his phone. He decides to do it in the same room as me.
Hey, that's brotherly love right there.
I guess. But I mean, on the website it says we've had 700 people listen to the
and
podcast.
More.
So,
well, we had like 700 downloads. So that means either it's the same people downloaded our show 700 times, and that's like in total that we've had. But if I were to say how many people listen to us on a daily basis,
I would say
24. I mean, not daily, but on like a per episode basis is 24.
Hey, we're growing. We used to have 8. So we're getting up.
Now
there.
we're getting up there, like 24 per episode, I think. Last time I checked, so the average has been growing up. So I think whoever's out there, hi, and if you're 14, tweet at us, and we'd have nothing to give you except for like a shout out in the next episode.
Oh yeah, definitely. We will shout you out if you have a channel or like an Instagram or something.
Okay, well, not that much, but we'll definitely give you like a hey, thanks.
I'll shout you out. 4,000. Okay? He won't, but I will.
All right.
I'll be like, go subscribe to at Give Me the Kids Karen on Instagram. He's posted free posts.
Okay. Question: do you know where I got that meme? Karen, give me the kids.
Probably Okay Buddy Retard or Doge lore.
Okay, Doge. Yeah. The whole you know what's weird about it? And at Blue Shades, the YouTuber made this a little while ago. He basically go on to talk about like how Doge has been like gone into a full circle of meta irony, because you know how Doge is meant to like show how like language can be simplified and how cute it is to have a shit, but even just talk about like really complex stuff with like simple language.
I mean,
it was kind of funny,
Yeah,
like,
I was just there for the comedy. I wasn't there for the like meta humor.
No. I mean, the comedy was the fact that Dog can speak in like such simple language, but it's still funny. And the simple language makes it even more funny. Like such wow, so Obama, much hope.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what this whole like Karen, you horrible wench, give me the kids right now, or you lock the key to my heart. This whole thing has been like really interesting, because what I think about it is that the community has realized like the meme is like the original meme is dead, but we can make it maybe not better, but we can take a new spin or remix it.
From like, I'm subscribed to r/Doge lore, which the only posts allowed are Doge posts, and it's been seeing a lot of posts like this, which I'll transcribe it to the listeners. It's a Doge sitting in front of a monitor with Minecraft in the background, and he's got the classic Turtle Beaches on, which for anyone who played games as a child in the last 10 years,
that was the standard.
Yeah, everybody had them. Like, I mean,
you didn't have your DX racers yet, but you at least had the Turtle Beach to prove that you're a true gamer.
I had those. What's it called? And it's saying at the very top, it's getting late and I don't want to be late for school. Night dudes, I'll see you again tomorrow. And then it says at the bottom, last online 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
And that just like kind of hurts, because like that's basically all of my friends I've ever had online. It's like one day they just disappear and you never see them again. They're just gone.
Okay, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean online? Like you made them friends online?
Yeah, like for example, like most of my Steam friends are from TF2, because I played that a lot back in the day. I started playing when I was 11, and I played pretty actively till I was like 14, 15, around there. So a good few years, I would just come home and play TF2. It was my game of choice. What's it called? And like I would see, because I'd go to the same servers, and I just see people there like every day or every other day, and we'd go on the same team. We'd talk in voice chat. We'd friend each other and like join each other's games. And I got to know these people. I don't know their actual names, but I remember their like in-game names, their Steam names. And then like if I would open up my friends list, like one of them, I remember this guy named Coffee Cube. I friended him after he made fun of me and called me a fucking retard. And then I said, no, you. And then he's like,
shots.
And I don't remember exactly what he said, but he was like, that's pretty good. And then he sent me a friend request, and we played for a good like week and a half together, maybe like 2 weeks. And then he went offline. He's been offline for about 5 years now. And I don't ever know what happened to the guy, but I knew him. Coffee Cube. He was pretty rude at times, but he was a pretty cool guy. And like this meme I sent you really like brings back those memories. And like that's what I've seen Doge lore like doing nowadays. Like here's another one that's pretty popular. These are all the top posts of the past month. This is an image of a Doge in front of a McDonald's. It looks like in a mall, which makes it a bit outdated because not many people go to malls. But he has one of those stereotypical kids hats with the little like spinning pinwheel on top, and it's all like multicolored. And it says, "Today I will order food myself without Dad's help. It may not seem like a big deal to an adult, but I'm only 10 and a bit shy, so it's an important day for me. Wish me luck." And it's like the Doge meme has come so far from what it originally was, which is like, wow, such awesome, epic, and all that. Now it's like, wow, these are actually like pretty decent, and they tell a story, and they're actually like relatable without being stupid.
Really? That's what you like about it now?
Yeah.
I think what I kind of missed about it was the simplicity of the Doge, but I think now that you say this, it kind of sheds some more light that it's not so much. It's not so. Maybe it's like an evolution.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's gone beyond post-ironic liking it anymore. Like, I don't know anyone, or like you know what I mean. Like, I don't see around anymore people posting actual original Doge memes with wow and like so cool, epic, and all that on it. Now,
right.
the only Doge memes I see are these like transcending the original meaning. Like, Doge has almost nothing to do with this, but he's just there. He's like a stand-in for the person making it.
So I would say beforehand, Doge was would you say that Doge was always a stand-in? Because it seems like now it's just more pronounced that we're going to use Doge as a microphone to our own relatable feelings and stories. But I think that in the past he was similar to do the same thing, wouldn't you say? Or maybe it was just more of like, instead of the past Doge, he was just more about absurdist, relatable things that are simplified to be funny. The new Doge or Neo Doge is basically more of a mouthpiece of our own past, feelings and stories,
Well, I wouldn't say it's always past. Like on the Doge lore subreddit, I mean, there's things about current events and such. Like, for example, what's it called? Where is it? Like this one here. It's about the LGBT community and stuff like that, which was, I guess, made by someone in that community, about how they don't welcome pedophiles into it, which isn't like a relatable past thing, but like it's more along the lines of they're using Doge
opinion
as
mouthpiece.
as like an avatar, which is interesting to me because it like seeing that this thing that was originally very simple and was probably going to be forgotten as one of the memes of years and years ago has now survived into this new meaning.
Okay, I see what you mean. That's pretty. I really am looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Oh, there's something. There's one thing I wanted to talk about. Going on to your online friends thing, I wanted to kind of talk about that because for me, I don't think I really had that opportunity or ever had like a real online friend experience that I hear a lot of people have when they're growing up on the internet. And I think that's interesting because I hear a lot of people who like spend time playing games had like at least one guy that they used to play with online. But I never had that before. And it's not because of lack of trying, because I was playing, MMORPGs and MOBAs and, FPS games like TF2 as well, but I never had that same kind of relationship online. And I think there's only maybe one exception, but I wouldn't count it. But I think it's a cringy story, but I kind of want you to hear your thoughts about that before I say it's something like that.
I would say it was like, well, I don't think it's over. I mean, if you look at kids nowadays, they're coming home and playing Fortnite together and all that sort of stuff. And while I'm not saying it's
over, but I never had the chance. I just think it's kind of, I'm not sure if it's rare or if it's common.
I think it's not either. Like, I think actually finding people who you play with on a regular basis is a bit more uncommon, but just meeting people that you like to talk to online is fairly common, But like, you have to actually go and friend the people and actually try to play with them to actually, make a friend online, which, I did a lot back in my TF2 days, because it was a lot easier to socialize with people through a headset instead of actually going up and talking to people, which, I mean, you would know pretty well because you saw me freshman year, which is when I was still playing TF2 like regularly, and I wasn't a very social person.
So I guess it just really depends on like how you interact with it, because I guess I used to do that more when I was in middle school, when I did have like no friends and I was kind of like I had nobody. But for me, I didn't do that. I did more online chat rooms, because they were kind of like where I can be more myself, because I didn't have any like. I think the reason why it was hard to like have an online friend, I'm not sure if, no, it probably isn't. But the thing I liked about online chat rooms is that I could be myself, because no one could know who I am. Or even if I did, I could always just like jump community and just go somewhere else if I didn't feel like I want to be there anymore.
I always found chat rooms is a little too unpersonal. Like when I'm talking to a person, I prefer to hear their voice if I'm going to take them seriously. Because if they're actually talking to me, then I can hear the inflections in their voice, and it's just more human to me. When I'm on a chat board, it's like, I don't know who this person is, and I don't really care. Like, I can see somebody multiple times, and I'll just be like, oh, it's that person again. Well, if it's on like a thing where I can hear their voice and hear them talk, it's like, oh, hey, it's that guy. It's just, maybe that's just how I work. Like, I know a lot of people love chat boards, from things like Reddit or 4chan, or hell, you could probably count Facebook as a quasi chat board if you included pictures and such. Which I've never even really been into Facebook or anything like that, but before. And if you look at my Twitter, it's mostly me just putting up complaints or putting up memes and music. So I'm not really talking to people. I'm just putting things out there. Because if I want to talk to someone, I'll just shoot them a text or just call them,
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I think the reason I liked it was mainly just the anonymity of it. And because it was kind of like, the reason I like Twitter is because no one really cares, because there's not a lot of followers I have like no responsibility to just kind of be more, I had no responsibility to keep up
appearances.
Yeah, because I mean, in small ways, I do that to everyone, but not like, depending on who they are, I do it in lesser or more amounts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which
is common for everybody.
Yeah,
but I think
that.
What I liked about it was the fact that I had no real reason to. I could always just leave, and I could just be who I am, and if they didn't like it, then whatever. And I think there was only one time, and I think the way I did that the most was in RP.
What do you mean?
I used to do beforehand. There was an app, and it still exists, called Anime Amino, and it's been there for like about, I don't know. Yeah, it was there since I was like 10, or at least 12. I know I used that a lot, but definitely 10. So it's been there a while. It's just really popular with like, anyone in the anime or Tumblr community would know what it is. But what I liked about it is that they had these chat rooms, and this is like this is kind of like an old but personal story. I never said this before, but I guess it's a good time to talk about it now since it's been like years.
Sure.
But one time there was this RP where I was doing like, you can like create your character and all that, and you can basically like act out a scene with like random people, but the thing is not organized. So just people would like, here's the setting, create your character, and like at 10 p.m. we're going to just start the setting in the world. There's going to be like one guy that kind of administers and like tries to hold a plot line together, while everyone does his own thing, which is a terrible idea.
Yeah,
but you know what?
That sounds like a shit show waiting to happen.
And it was many times, and that's why like sometimes when it got too shitty, it's like, okay, I gotta go. This is nothing. There's nothing to build here. But one time, we actually had like this thing where we're all the setting was, hey, you're at a park. There's these young couples, not young couples, but young people just getting here. No one knows how they got here, and you all need to figure it out or just explore the world, have fun. And that was like pretty open, so it's like anything literally could happen, bombs or whatever. And there was some like, you know, shooting and stuff like that. That was kind of like whatever. But what was interesting is that there was this one user, which I don't know if they were a guy or a girl, which could make this really, you know, awkward, whatever way.
No
but in any case, no homo, whoever it was, I hope you were a girl, a grill. There was one person that were like doing like a weird like, hey, let's team up together. And for some reason, we were like starting to share like not our personal details, like who we are. But we were kind of like, our personalities were definitely creeping out of our characters for sure, you know? And one of the things that happened was that like, hey, I guess, I don't know what my character was. I'm just going to call him like Ryder, and let's say, I don't know, let's call her Misty.
I like how you're assuming it's a woman for your own sake.
Go ahead. Because don't make me think that it, because the character name was a girl. Just let me dream that. But basically, the idea was like, wow, we teamed up really great together. And then for some reason, she does like a gesture, like hugs me or whatever, or holds my hand. And then it's like Ryder and Misty goes to a cafe. And then we started getting to know each other, like, hey, what do you like to do? And like, what are your favorite things? And for some reason, as we were like getting to like say like, oh wow, as I was like getting to know her RP character, for some reason I was thinking, I think I like this person. I have no reason why, but I think I actually like enjoy being with this person. I have no real idea who their personality is, if I would like them in the real world or not. But the way that they really made their character made me kind of in some way from my 10-year-old brain fall in love with the character. And we did this for like about maybe, and this went over the course of, I'd say 4 hours of RP, because we had nothing to do, and I was like tired and in my bed, and I was like lonely as usual. And I think it's because of the loneliness I kind of really got attached to it. But eventually she also did stuff that was like, okay, this sounds like way too romantic, and it wasn't like me initiating it. So essentially, like, hey, Misty would say, hey, let's go to the water fountain. And we would sit there, and she would say, Misty holds your hand, or like, you know, shares a drink with you. And at the very end of the RP, while this is going on, the rest of the people are picking up and like, oh shoot, this is kind of getting, you know, too spicy for Amino. Hello. And everyone kind of stopped doing whatever they were doing, like fighting dragons or whatever, just like let us continue the story. And as we were doing it, at the very end of it, it's like Missy says like, hey, would it be nice to go back to your place? And I was like, sure, whatever. And the human mind is like, you know, 10-year-old mind. Go to my place, turn off the lights, she undresses her clothes, and for some reason I do the same. And she types in, it was a long night, and they both had a great time. And everyone was like, oh! And I was like, what the hell? Eventually, she friended me, and she sent a message like, that was one of the best RPs I have ever had. And I was like, yeah, we should really get to know each other. And as we tried to do that, like the days after, we kind of like chatted for a while, but we kind of just saw each other as like normal users. And in the end, we kind of just faded away. And I don't know if that person was a guy or girl, and that kind of like messes me up. But in the end, I would say it was left such an impact on me that even though I'm like 19 now, and that was like maybe 7 years ago or whatever, I still think about like that was the most like odd, intimate human interaction I had at that age, and it still felt something like an actual crush at that moment.
Jeez.
I have no reason why, but I found like that moment made me realize that the internet is weird, but I love it.
Man, loneliness and hormones can do some odd things to a boy.
Yeah, it does. Like, what the
I mean, me at that age, I was, pining after girls at my school, and I was like, man, I wish I could be with them. And then, go back to my stories from like episode 5 or 6 and see how that all turned out. It usually wasn't well. What's it called? But I never, like, I did RPs, but on like Gary's mod. But those aren't real RPs, really. It's just a bunch of people running around doing things. Like, my favorite was to become a hobo, and hobos are legally allowed to build shacks anywhere on the map that is not the police station. So I would build a shack in the middle of Main Street, and I would convert a bunch of other people to being hobos by screaming at them to become hobos. And then we would all sit there as I played loud music, and we would throw things at people passing by. And we were such giant like nuisances, and I loved it.
So basically, you create a religion.
Yeah, we basically created like a cult of personality, where I basically just said, embrace like chaos. Let's tear this whole system down and just make everyone homeless.
Hoboism.
Yeah, because like the police and the drug lords and like that random guy walking to his house like down the street, just like throw bricks at him. And it was very fun, and I only ever did it a few times, because most times, I would just go back to playing other games. But the few times I did, RP, quote unquote, it was like that. So we had very different experiences.
Yeah, for sure.
Mine was, figuring out how to like manipulate and like lead people. It's like, yes, do my bidding, minions. Yjang is like, I'm awakening to my like, hormones and my like sexuality. It's like, oh, okay, those are very different.
Yeah, very different. Jesus, I don't know how I'm gonna post this, but it was the most like, how am I gonna have the goal to post this? Part of that.
Who cares?
I know, but at the same time, I don't know why I felt the need to share it, but it was like
it's
honestly,
it's good to get things like that off your chest.
Yeah,
it feels nice.
Confession.
Yeah,
it makes me feel better, but I'll tell you what, it's still like weird, and I don't know if this should be like a footnote in my biography.
Yeah, quote me.
Quote me when I was 12 years old. I was a fucking like mess, sad.
Quote
but at
me,
the very least, I was.
Quote me on the back of your autobiography as saying, "Hormones and loneliness do odd things to a boy."
Hormones and loneliness do odd things to a boy. I wasn't normal where I could have just said like, nah, I'm gonna watch porn. No, I was like, I'm gonna have an RP with a stranger and just, talk about our feelings. Which, you know what? Cool.
I mean, talking about your feelings is very important to a human being, and it's very important to boys. Which gets me onto a topic that just came to my mind, was my psychology lecture today, where we talked about gender roles and stereotypes and such. And we were going over, and I was thinking about it, like, man, the like gender like stereotypes for men suck. It's like you can't have emotions. You have to be stoic. You have to be strong. You have to do all the hard manual labor, and like all that sort of shit. And it's like, that sucks. Like, I have just as much as like emotions as the next person. I have just as much emotions as a woman. And yeah, I might be a bit stronger than some people, but if there's some woman who's the same height as me, why can't she carry that f***ing cardboard box? Why do I gotta do it?
Because you're a man, Jeffrey.
It's like, I didn't sign up for this. Listen, I didn't pay for this class to carry your f***ing boxes, Teach. Okay? Do it yourself.
Hey, equality, But I
crave true equality.
If you want true equality, I think it's impossible though. I think we don't need equality. What we need is equal opportunities. Because
I mean, those are basically the same thing in my mind. Oh, they're pretty close.
Nah. No, there's a difference because equality means everyone gets a vagina and everyone has the ability to give birth, which is a painful experience, versus everyone has the ability to have a financial future to make that not as sucky.
I mean, everyone did have a vagina at some point in their lives because we all start as women.
Mr. Technical.
Technically, I'm a transgender, okay? Because at like 2 months old, I was a woman, and then when my Y chromosome got put in, my body grew a dick, and now I'm a man. So I'm a transgender.
I never heard of a transgender growing a dick. I'll tell you that.
Well, go ask every single man on the planet, including yourself.
Okay.
Don't women know they just have to grow dicks? Okay.
God.
It's as easy as that. We're gonna put this in the show.
Listeners, I am pro. I do not honestly believe this, but hey, if for some reason this becomes popular, I just wanted to say that
he disavows me.
I am not in support of that opinion officially.
What fucking opinion was it? It's just a joke. Don't listen. Don't bring me out of fucking context. Don't show this to my employers in 20 years.
Gosh. Okay. Well, you already talked about that whole like, oh no, what if our
voice... let's just fucking move on to something a lot more fun, which is spring break, which I am eagerly anticipating.
Yeah, next week I get spring break, which is great.
Yeah, thankfully your spring break is the same time as mine because one of my friends, Jay, who we've talked about in previous episodes, and he listens to all of our episodes. So hey Jay,
hey Jay, what's up?
JV with the very long name that no one can spell. What's it called? His break is this week, which sucks for me because I'm doing a lot of work and I have exams. So because his college UF has a different schedule than both of ours, so that kind of sucks. But hey, you'll be in town next week, and we can go to like the arcade or something again, and you can beat me again in like air hockey, like 5-0, just like last time.
Mercy. I will show no mercy. Also, I gotta see if you're catching up on Mob Psycho 100.
I finished Mob Psycho 100. Now I'm just waiting for Mob Psycho 102, or as
it is already out.
I know, but it has no dub, so I can't watch it. I am patient, okay?
Okay, fine.
Just like every single Sunday, I go, ooh, there's a new JoJo episode, and I go and watch more Part 4. Listen, guys, Kira just got his new identity. I'm so far into Part 4.
Well, all the other sub-reading boys out here are like...
It's like, yeah, yeah, we're nearing the end of Part 5, and I'm like, oh, I'm like 70% of the way through Part 4 right now. Fucking shoot me.
This is the price people pay when they want to stick to the dub. But you know what? There's one thing I know I won't do is listen to the sub of Goku in Dragon Ball at all. Because I did that one time, and I was like, nope, I can't. Just can't.
You know,
so it's too high pitched. It messes up everything.
You know, I told you, I think it was last week, that I was going to start Death Note, and I have yet to start Death Note. Because whenever I click on it on the site we use to watch anime, I just think, do I really want to watch this like edgy piece of shit looking anime? It just looks like a 14-year-old's fucking wet dream. Okay, it looks like the perfect anime for that age demographic. And
you're shitting me, but you're right.
And it's like,
you know what it is more perfect than that? SAO. But anyway,
I'm just like, I could go watch Evangelion again and just experience that again. I could go watch Gurren Lagann. I could just be patient and watch JoJo. I could be depressed that I'll have to wait even longer for One Punch Man Season 2 because I'm going to wait for the dub. Because the dub voice acting is way better than the Japanese. I watched the full series in Japanese. It was my first anime ever. I watched it sub, and then a few months ago I watched it dub, and it was way fucking better. What's it called? But like, Death Note does not look good, and I've heard so much hype around it that my inner hipster is thinking, oh, it's shit.
It's good. It's good. The story is convoluted, but it's actually...
I don't mind a convoluted story. I watched Evangelion.
Well,
and enjoyed
you're
it.
gonna enjoy it. Just, okay. It is technically it. And I will not try to play around the fact that it's a 14-year-old's wet dream. Because the ability to say, like, I can kill anyone that I see in a picture and write their names down.
I'm gonna kill Jim. He pushed me into the locker last week.
I mean, hell, there's so many, memes of that when it came out, and videos like YouTube like that, like real life Death Note, stuff like that. But it's a good one. It's a good show. It's a foundational, piece in the early streaming community for anime. Like without it,
Another anime that I actually watched the first and second episode for and just said I don't fucking care. Darling in the Franxx.
Same
I've
here.
heard so much about it and seen so many memes, and I watched the first 2 episodes and I was thinking, this just feels like a shitty mecha anime that's just stealing from the other good ones like Gurren Lagann and Evangelion.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't either. Like, it just like, I know it's popular and all, but it just doesn't feel like
There's only so much fan service a man can handle.
I know, like,
right?
It's way too much, and they don't even play it for laughs. Like, if you're gonna have that much fan service, at least make fun of it and acknowledge what you're doing, because too much
But
fan
it's
service
part
is
of the
bad.
plot.
Yeah, it's part of the plot line, which is just shitty.
It's just because the best girl is really like hot for the community. But you know what? You know who has the better best girl?
She's not even that good looking. I mean,
She isn't, but
she's
you know what?
Good, but
You know who's a better best girl that does it right? Have you seen Konosuba?
yeah, I've seen season 1.
Okay, Aqua.
Darkness, all the way. Darkness is the best one there.
Obviously, but the point is, they're girls that are obviously like.
Just stay the fuck
they make
away
fun.
from Megumin, you pedos.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. There's no unless she is 18. If she's on the clock, she's not ready.
But what about 19 and 20? Wait, no, fuck. 19's not on the...
13
I'm
is
fucking
not on the
retarded.
clock.
I thought 19 was on the fucking clock. And then my brother next
Actually,
to me
no.
sends me a message saying the best girl of Konosuba is Wiz. And that is a
You know what?
that
Yeah,
is a
that's
respectable opinion.
I give him that. Wiz is she's such a kind soul.
Mm-hmm.
God, respect. She's like a big sister. Make sure she's taking good.
Okay,
care of.
don't say that because that just makes it more weird.
Why? I think Wiz is such a nice girl.
But don't call her a big sister because then we'll have to move to Alabama.
Oh no, not like that. But just shit. No, I just meant kind of way where you just want to see someone you want to take care of them their family.
Yeah,
similar.
Yeah,
to that.
definitely.
Yunyu also is in that category too.
Who?
Where Yunyu, Megumin's friend from high school.
That's probably in season 2.
No, she's in season 1. She looks like Megumin, but she has she's not flat for one. Megumin slaps her a lot.
Yeah, that was not in season 1.
No, season 1.
It was definitely not. I don't remember any other person looking like Megumin. There was only one explosion girl.
All right. Well, she doesn't have explosion magic, but she grew up in the same school as.
Yeah, no, it's not there. What's it called?
In the case.
My favorite thing about the Konosuba dub though is the voice actor they got for the headless rider guy. I forgot his name. But, they got the guy who voices Dio in JoJo, the English VA, and he's fucking wonderful. because his like laughs and screams are so comedic that it made it so much fun to watch him on screen. And I was kind of sad when he died because I like I'm like, damn, I don't get to hear him scream again. Like, it's so funny. But at least I got episode 9 of season 1, which is the best episode in the show. And anyone who disagrees, listen, you're lying.
You gotta admit to yourself, man. Like episode 9,
the succubus episode, best episode,
this best one. And you know how many fan fictions have been based off that episode?
I have not looked because, listen, I'm just afraid of finding like mega mean fanfics.
Don't. That's the majority of
Oh, yeah, okay, so I was right because knowing the community, it's like they're gonna go for her, and I fucking know.
But not for the succubus scene. The succubus scene is all darkness.
Good.
Which makes sense because that was like literally the whole point of it.
Yeah, and it was her like second best scene.
Second best scene. Yeah, the one where she gets beat up by all the
fucking cabbages. Yeah, that was great. God. It's a good show. Go see it if you're into anime. Do not watch it as your first anime. Go watch like Full Metal Alchemist or Gurren Lagann.
Yeah,
or some,
watch Full Metal Alchemist as your first anime. Brotherhood.
Although my speaking of first animes, I've gotten my dad to watch an anime with me, which I think I talked about last episode, but we've gotten farther. We are nearing the end of part 2 right now. We just got past spoiler, Caesar's death, and we are about to start the chariot race with Wamu.
That was good.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. He seems to like it, although he said that he would classify JoJo as a comedy, which, I mean, I would classify it as like an action comedy. At least part 2. Like, part 1's a bit more serious.
Yeah, part 1 is actually like, action hero. Part 2 is you have to laugh. If you don't, then you're kind of missing out.
And part 3 is like a mixture of both at times. It really depends on the episode. They vary
sometimes
widely.
It's just like for laughs. Other times it's like plot wise is important. But
I mean, part 3 actually made me like genuinely sad, but I can't talk about that yet because you're not into season 2 of part 3. Yeah, I can't talk about that, but it's actually genuinely sad. And part 4 has a very unique feel to it. Like the first half is very, it feels like more carefree and funny than even part 2. But the second half I'm in right now feels like, I can't really draw that analogy, but I was gonna say that it's like just as tense as like season 2 of Stardust Crusaders, but you're not there yet. It just feels like you're nearing the end and like the big fight's coming.
This weekend I'm gonna finish up Stardust Crusaders, and
season 2 is way better than season 1 of part 3.
Okay, you've been telling me that. The only reason I haven't is because what I've been doing lately is finishing up following 2. Well, I've been following 3 and finishing up 1. I'm following Mob Psycho 100 season 2, which is awesome, so great. It's just great. The mob is becoming a better and whole person, and I'm looking forward to seeing him grow.
He needs character.
He's such a kind. He's growing to be an actual social person, and his family relationship with his brother has been improving ever since. Also, I've been watching another show called The Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime.
I've seen that,
which is
just like that title is like, I don't want to watch that.
It's also
Plus,
called as
hate
Tensura.
Like, what's the term? Iskesi worlds. Like they did
Isekai.
Yeah, they just aren't like a fun concept to me. And Konosuba
Not anymore.
Like, well, I've just never really liked them because it's just not a fun concept to me. It's like, oh, okay. Like Konosuba, I like it because it kind of makes fun of it.
Well, Konosuba is I wouldn't say it's so much as an isekai as it is a sitcom.
And that's probably why I enjoy it. But like from that genre I've seen, I've just never really liked it myself. I'm like, if you want to do a fantasy world, just do a fantasy world.
I mean, I would say that honestly, isekai is majorly a fantasy setting. It's just the fact that the whole thing about like, oh, I came here from another world only matters for like the first couple episodes, and the fact that the people have to explain what the fantasy elements are, because
It just seems
as
like a
viewer,
lazy way to dump exposition.
I guess. Honestly, the isekai genre is not going anywhere, if from what I understand,
Yeah.
because there's so much material out there that it's kind of hard to see this go. This isekai is just going to be like the thing of the 2010s for sure. And the reason I like this one is because instead of kind of like subverting isekai, it decides to just go full force, but not, go and take everything. It takes only the good parts of it that work really well. And the reason I like it so much too is because it kind of follows Civilization. Like, it's like seeing someone play a Civ 5 campaign, but they're trying to go for the peace and cultural victory mode for the win.
The most boring route. Okay.
Yeah, it's the most boring route because the guy is OP as hell. But the thing that makes it more interesting is seeing how does he navigate trying to interact with different nations. But the thing I would like more is more resistance whenever people try to join up with him. Because every time even someone who like obviously would be an antagonist goes up against them, they just like, whenever he offers like, hey, would you like to trade with us and become part of our nation, they're always like, yeah, sure, no problem,
what you're
man.
saying is you want like people who don't have common sense and are better villains, like they're more
No. I mean, obviously the reasons why everyone comes here and joins his side or takes peace makes sense, because honestly there's no other way I can see it conceivably that they would survive long without being peaceful. But there's definitely some villains out there that when I'm looking at them, it's like, oh, my subordinate came and attacked you, I'm so sorry that he did that. And the guy said, hey, do you want to be on like a non-aggression pact treatment? Even though technically they are technically the enemy, they're like, you know what, sure, why not? That sounds like a great idea. When beforehand the whole thing was, we gotta keep an eye on him and see what kind of person he is. Yeah, he might become too powerful and we might have to crush him. But they're like, oh, this guy's super powerful, but he wants to be friends. Alright, cool. And I'm like, what happened to the whole like situation of
Plus,
you
I
being
wouldn't trust that person anyways. It's like, why you're so powerful? Why are you so willing to sign like a ceasefire with me? It's like, you're gonna backstab me.
No, like the thing is, they give out good reasons why he won't, and obviously we know as a viewer he won't. But I would like to see some more tension. You know,
I would like
just a little bit more.
Where you as a viewer don't know that, like,
yeah,
good writing would be like you still feel tense, like they could betray you at any moment, and like, I don't know. I just don't think a plot line like that should be resolved so unceremoniously. It's like, and now we're at peace.
Yeah, I think what's the problem? I would like it where instead of it being like there's magic superpowers, which I mean, whatever. Everyone likes that because of, game elements. I wish it was just more like real armies. We have someone who's obviously trying to go for the peace and cultural victory path with like regular armies, but not everyone's a really nice person and very logical. It just feels like everyone who plays this game in the world is super like logical and is trying to not die or try to be stupid. Whereas in Civ, there's people who are like, you know what? It would be beneficial if everyone would just get it along. But honestly, you, player. We're not gonna make it that easy. We want to have the same ambitions to take over the world culturally as you.
John wants to see a warlord anime where there's a bunch of vying factions for land or something like that. Let's see like
pretty much
let's see a what's that war called in China where there were like 6 different factions all vying to be emperor?
I don't know.
I don't remember
I only
what
know the
that's called.
Sengoku Jidai, which happened in Japan.
Well, yeah, kind of like that too, but like I don't want to bring up Japan because that's even more weeby. Okay, I know Chinese.
We're already in the fine.
I watch Chinese cartoons. Okay. What's it called? But like that's kind of what you probably want. Just like oh, here's all these warlords fighting. Like that sounds pretty cool.
I just want more deception and more battle tactics with cutting.
I want
than just like,
you know what I want anime? Like JoJo has spoiled me just on like weird plot lines that you could never see coming. Like I want that in my anime, but when I start an anime, I just guess all the plot points, and inevitably I get at least 80% of them right, because they're just easy to tell from the outset. And it's like, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you kind of got spoiled off of, like, really outrageous plot lines.
Which is why the
I
only anime I'm currently watching is JoJo.
So, I think the reason I'm glad I saved JoJo for last is because if I had watched it now, everything would become boring.
Like, let me transcribe to the listeners the most recent episode of JoJo that was done. So, after figuring out that the serial killer, Yoshikage Kira, who I'm going to call Kira from here on out, swapped his body with another man by going into a beauty salon and forcing the beauty salon person there to use her stand, which some people call a punching ghost, called Cinderella, which is not copyrighted, and it does not look like Cinderella. It's like a robot-looking thing, but she basically summons it behind her, and then she uses it to rearrange faces by picking up faces like they're ceramic plates and then pushing them around. So basically the serial killer storms in, and now that the heroes know who he is because they found a button after he blew up a middle schooler for taking his lunch.
Hold up, man. You went too far.
And they found a button for his jacket
and brought it to a tailor. Things happen.
and they figure out
His name after the tailor gets a bomb implanted into his throat, which then blows up.
What's it called? And they go to his house. And
wait, no, sorry.
I finished the last one. The serial killer goes in there and he forces the woman to use Cinderella
to change his face by taking the face of the man who was currently in that beauty salon and assuming his identity. But the heroes know this because they rush in afterwards, and in her dying breath, the beauty salon woman talks about it and says that he changed identity. So they go to his house that he won't go back to because that's not his identity anymore. And they search around, and it's a fairly normal house. He lives by himself. And they find in a drawer, he's been collecting his fingernails for about a decade and measuring their growth and kind of using them as omens. Like, if his fingernails grow up to 10 inches within a few months, then that's a good omen, and he'll go do another serial killing so he can cut off women's hands and suck on them and bait the woman's hands because he has a
fetish for hands, because he's a weird person. And then, as they're digging around and all this stuff and going through his ledger to learn more about him, a picture is taken, and by a camera on a desk. And the heroes look and they go, what the hell? Nobody pushed that camera to take that picture. And then they look at the picture and they see a little tiny old man sitting in the picture. And they wonder, what's that? And then the old man is a ghost possessing that picture that was just taken, who is the ghost of the serial killer's father, who is defending his son, even though he knows he's a killer and has known for his entire life. And, he probably even killed his own father. But that's just a theory, a game theory. What's it called? And then he traps the two main heroes inside of this picture with him, and then cuts their heads off with a knife. But it doesn't actually do anything, because one of them stops time, and then figures out how the picture works, and traps the ghost inside his own picture, and then sticks him with a tack onto a wooden beam, where one of the idiot side characters thinks that he can't breathe. So he untacks him from the wall, and then he flies out of the room and is picked up by a raven, and then shit on the house of the killer, with his new identity. And inside, the killer is taking a shower.
And his wife walks in, and she complains to him about them not paying bills.
Okay, so for
JoJo.
one, that was a whole if I had to describe that what you just did, that was like a wall of words that you just fronted on the listeners.
That's
and
the
I'm
point.
probably just gonna. I might just speed it up just for fun.
No,
you should. I think
speed it
you
up by
should just for fun.
25%, okay? But don't.
25%.
Okay, yeah, but don't double it and make me like a chipmunk, okay? But just speed
I
up
won't
a
try to
little
make you
bit,
like
just to add to the effect of what the f is happening.
Yeah. Oh god. But yeah, the thing is, JoJo is such a bizarre adventure.
Title drop.
That because of it, I'm glad I kind of held it off. And I think a lot of anime people, people who get into anime and they don't watch JoJo, and they hear everyone saying dude, you gotta get into JoJo, it's so crazy. This plotline where it did this, and everything you just did.
This plotline where a serial killer blows up a middle schooler because he took his lunch bag, and then he blows him up because the serial killer has a hand fetish and he was sucking on the hand's fingers in the park, and the middle schooler took his bag, but the middle schooler had this punching ghost with thousands of little bees that he used to collect thousands of yen coins, but they kind of got in trouble because they stole a lottery ticket and they won a few million yen, blah 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 blah. Yeah,
it's kind of by the time I hear all that, I'm like, this is some shit this is a cult. I gotta get out of that. I gotta leave.
I once found a meme, which it's that meme of that guy coming up behind someone and smacking them in the head with a metal bat. and the person smacking them was titled me, and the bat was called Watch JoJo, and the person they're smacking was all of my friends and family. And that's how it feels to be in the JoJo cult. Okay,
It is a cult. It's a really
Join
interesting
us.
cult.
it's worth it.
That's his It's just a recruitment strategy.
Join the JoJo and Persona cult. Okay, I've had to hold myself back from talking about Persona, especially today, because it's a very important day for Persona 3, and I hope Yjang doesn't look at my likes on Twitter, because it's Persona 3 spoilers for the ending of Persona 3. But it's
I did not. I haven't checked Twitter all day.
good.
I've been mostly.
Don't look at my likes. But it's
Cool.
it's until you beat the game, which you better have played it at least somewhat.
I've been playing it like occasionally. I'm gonna definitely get back into it. What I've basically been doing in between has been playing Minecraft a lot for some reason. I don't know why, but I just felt like I need to get back into it. No reason. But I am missing the. But the thing about Minecraft that it does is that it kind of just makes you feel like you're just toiling through life unless you're in creative mode. So I think I might just go back to story mode again and just enjoy it. But before we kind of close off into things, there's one thing I kind of want to talk about, particularly about Discord.
Yeah, you did want to talk about this.
So, for people who like use video games, not use video games. That's such a weird way English is, but whatever.
It makes you sound like you're really like elderly.
Like those kids are using those damn video games.
What is technically true, but whatever. Yeah, for people who play video games and use like voice chat to like hang out with their friends and talk while they're
Or
playing.
record a podcast.
Discord, or record a podcast, that's for sure. Or like, you know, just have like a place to hang out. Discord is just the best tool at the moment.
It's better than Skype.
And better than Skype for sure. And one of the reasons why I feel really attached to it is because it's cross-platform and it has like a lot of cool features. But I think about like how like Discord is moving at the moment, and like, you know, how they're trying to push, you know, getting people to games and joining servers and like that, which is pretty good. I believe because of the direction, and also not the direction, but just because of Discord's nature as a startup, which got a lot of money because it's a great concept and idea. I think Discord is going to get bought out by Amazon or any big tech company, not because it's just a standard, but because I think there's a trend in what kind of companies get bought up by big tech ones.
I mean, you can see that in almost any, you know, new startup on the internet. You know,
Not quite. I mean, like
look
this
at
one
things,
is
you
okay.
know, like way back in the day, like YouTube, or more recently things like Twitch and all that. Like if they get big enough,
but here's the thing.
They get bought up.
No, it's not so much about them getting big enough. It's more like what kind of platform are they? Like Snapchat got big, yeah, it's still its own company.
Well, because Snapchat's probably not that profitable.
Well, here's the thing though. All right, YouTube wasn't profitable and it was losing money. So was Twitch and even GitHub. But what I notice is, anytime there's a hosting platform, like YouTube hosts videos, Twitch hosts streaming servers, GitHub hosts servers to post your code so you can share it with your friends and your companies. Anytime it's or like even social networks kind of fall into this bubble, but they're a little bit different. Anytime they're kind of like this, like Discord, which hosts servers for communicating, also sharing what games you're playing, and now buying games, I feel as though hosting is so expensive that you have to be a big company to ever get used to even try doing something like this. So if you're a startup and your whole business model is on hosting, I'm thinking the only way you can like successfully get out of this, unless you're just damn lucky and you have a really good, you know, CEO, which I don't know much about Discord, so maybe I'm just
all
like,
I know
you know,
about Discord is that recently it got invaded by furries. It's literally all I know. But that's a
Yeah,
story
it's a
for
good
another
meme.
time. It's actually not a meme.
I know, but it's a meme because of how, you know, true it is. But anyway, I think the reason why Discord is going to fall into the same cycle is because since it hosts video chat and also text, and on top of it, you know, streaming and video, you know, video calls like VoIP, it's really likely to be bought out by a company that is big and also has been investing into video games. And I think Amazon's the best candidate to buy it out, just because they bought Twitch, which is similar in the market. And I thought if Amazon were to buy out, Discord, they would have 2/3 control of the gaming market, which would be more than enough to make them like the hegemon of gaming.
Well, I would say the hegemon of like live gaming, yes, because I mean they own Twitch, and with Discord, say functionality,
They would
and
own
stuff
the
like
way
that.
you talk to people, and
Yeah, I mean, but Steam would still be the monolith of where you buy games, of course.
yeah. But here's the thing: lately, Steam has been getting shots taken by Epic Games making their own launchers.
I have strong opinions about that.
Okay, but here's the thing. Okay, we're gonna have to talk about this too, because the thing is, since companies are trying to move into they're having their own launchers, which sucks consumer-wise, it makes it more. It makes there's less power that is held in Discord, like not Discord, but in Steam.
Yeah, they're
does
trying
take-
to destabilize Steam.
And it's obviously hurting because their whole profit margin of making like 30% cut of all games really is getting shattered when Epic Games is saying we're only going to take, I think it was like 10 or 5%, one of
I
those
believe
two.
it's 10.
And that's ridiculous. But at the same time, it's making Steam in this corner where it's like, if you're a new developer, who do you want to go publish to? Epic Games, or
Well,
you want to
Epic
put it
Games
on
has
Steam?
a much lower user base, though.
But the thing is, you're more likely to get seen. That's the thing, because you're not.
Well-
Here's the reason why: you're more likely to get seen because there's not a bunch of junk that is just thrown into Steam and gets the same equal footing as you do if you have a really quality game.
Yeah.
The only way you can able to get
you're
through
right
Steam
about
is if
that.
you have really good clout.
But if everyone did that on the Epic Games Store, then eventually that advantage would go away.
Well, it's more of if Epic Games were to do the opposite and say, like, we curate what kind of games we think are the best ones or the ones that are really popular right now. And if it seems to be like if you're a new developer and you put really good work into it, better than like average games, and you're going to be technically rewarded by a publisher like that, it's logical that you would want to go publish on that platform than a company is just going to say, oh, here's your lot, here you go. Even if you're like a really good, title, or even just a really good company. Just like, business-wise, it makes sense to go work for like a custom launcher. But the thing is, Discord's been doing the same thing too by offering, not so much exclusives, but there has definitely been some cross, publisher games that have been going on Steam and Discord that are being sold between.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I have some strong opinions about.
Mhm.
Well, first, just my opinions on the Discord issue. Like, Discord probably will be bought within the next year and a half, probably. It's probably going to be by Amazon or someone like them, just because of the power that they're getting. But what I wanted to talk about was the Epic Games launcher, and a series I wanted to talk about last podcast, but I guess I forgot about it or we didn't have time, was the Metro series of games, which have been on Steam since they came out. And I'm not going to go into the games, but they're basically like they're based on some Russian novels about the post-apocalypse, and they're set in Russian, and they're set in Russia, and they're very good games, and I like them a lot. I'm a pretty big fan of the series. Not as big fan as like Persona or like Hotline Miami, but I enjoy the games. And Metro Exodus was set to come out February 5th, something like that. And about a week before the game came out, it was announced that it would be taken off the Steam store and it would be exclusive to the Epic Game Launcher, which made me pretty upset because, as with most games, I almost never pre-order a game. I wait until a few days after it comes out if I'm really hyped about it to read some reviews and general, consensus and say, okay, it's a pretty good game, or it's not what I expected, and then I'll pick it up or not. But now it was off Steam, so I had to go download the Epic Games launcher to download it. And I mean, I'm about halfway through the game, but I'm just not really playing it that much because I don't want to have to go and open another damn launcher and have to log in and wait for it to go and like that.
So much fatigue,
Yeah, it just like I just rather go play Kenshi or something. Like it's just way faster, or just go play like Witcher 3, or just go do my damn classwork. It's better than this. And I really enjoy the series, and it makes me mad that now way less people are gonna see it because I mean, Metro Exodus is extremely huge compared to the last Metro games. All the previous games were pretty linear, like shooter storyteller games, where you had decent sized levels that you would travel through, but in the end you had to go to one area and do one thing. While Exodus is like, here are these huge levels that are, very, very large. I mean, in one of them, it's so large that they give you a car, and you have to drive around. There's all these different objectives to do, side quests, all these little like treasures and stuff you can find. It's very different and very much, bigger than the last ones. But now, way less people are going to play it because it's not on Steam. And the majority of people buy their games through Steam, and most people will be like me and be reluctant to download another launcher, another one past Uplay, past Origin, and all that shit.
Oh god!
And now there's this one here, which is going to take up more space on your hard drive, so you can play one game on it.
It's a crappy situation, and Discord's kind of getting the same game too, where they're trying to have games on their platform, which is like, in all fairness, out of all the other things, that's actually worth my time, because if it's going to be on the thing that I actually talk and speak on with my friends all the time, that's designed for it, and it also happens to launch games, it's more like a nice side note than it is like something that's in the way.
I just don't like exclusivity of games that aren't first party. Like, I'm okay with someone like Nintendo making Zelda or Mario exclusive to their consoles because they made the game themselves. Do what you want. But
yeah,
like,
whatever.
The thing with like Metro Exodus, it's like, that's, you don't own that. You just bribe that company to say you are now ours.
Pretty
And
much.
I don't like that, but that's me.
I think in the end, it all is just a really shitty thing for the consumer coming out. It's not going to be good for people who like playing, Metro Exodus or like the series, and now they have to go through another party just because of the whole Epic situation, which it is a better deal. And I can't expect Steam to just like half their take.
Yeah, and
that's gonna really fuck up their business model.
I mean,
so
they announced that like it would be coming to Steam, but like sometime in 2020 after their like exclusivity license is up. But by then, the interest in the game will probably be way down. So
yeah, all the initial sales are gone.
Yeah. But we're reaching a pretty good length here. So what's it called?
But I do want to, before we go ahead and close out, I just want to say thank you again for watching the show, and I want to give a big shout out to our long-standing patron
Julio. Who helps pay for the site and keeps us afloat. Thank you for donating. And hey, if anybody else goes on Patreon within
if you like what we do and you think that this show has added value to your life, then even supporting us with $1
helps a lot.
So much. Seriously, you don't understand, but it does help a lot. Scales.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
In any case, even if you can't pay, I just share this with your friends. That's really the thing that matters. I think that means a lot to us. If not $1, share this with your friends. And if you think that this is something that they'll enjoy, then go ahead and share Tangent Podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
Have them have a great time like you are having with us today.
Yeah, over your spring break if you're a student, and if you're not, then hey, take some time for yourself today. Just
take some time.
Just go sit out in the sun, Gras. Have a drink. Just
have a pina colada.
Yeah, if you're of legal drinking age, we don't want to promote underage drinking.
Have a virgin pina colada like I do.
What's it called? But just like enjoy yourself, and one of the things that I found in life is just to enjoy the little things. Just enjoy living life. Just go out and sit in the sun and just drink something, and just be like, I'm happy I'm alive right now.
Not even that, just every day, once a day. Don't even plan it. Just go out and get yourself a little present. It could be a nice new shirt. It could be, a nice little nap at home. It could be playing with your dogs. It could even just be calling that person that you think is really cute. Just give yourself a present and just say, you deserve it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. What's it called? But thank you for listening to Tangent Podcast. We hope you enjoy your spring break or any equivalent.
Enjoy the
time to
spring.
yourself. Yes,
Not the pollen.
Enjoy the world. Enjoy the world that we all live in. Appreciate it, because in a few centuries it'll look a lot different. Be a lot different people. So
It's gonna be Thanos snapped
Mhm.
from existence.
enjoy it how it is now, because
This got depressing.
we make our future people.
We are the future. Make it count.
So hey, we will be seeing you into the future when you tune into Tangent Podcast next time. See ya.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
You know, I'm just starting to realize that this might not be posted by spring break, but I hope they have a good time anyway.